All right, back with you, San Diego sports leader. It is the mighty 1090, Darren Smith. And over the weekend, had a chance to watch San Diego State, as mentioned earlier, 82-67 over Fresno State. Up next on the road at UNLV, and then New Mexico coming up on Saturday afternoon. Let's say hello to Steve Fisher, head coach of the Aztecs. They are back up to number 10 in the rankings, 25-3 thus far. Coach, a pleasure. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Darren. My pleasure.
Well, I guess if you shoot 60%, you probably like your team's chances, whether you're playing at home or whether you're playing on the road.
I think you're 100% right. When you can put the ball in the basket with the regularity that we did, you're going to win. You're going to win a lot of games, and we did that with convincing fashion against Fresno, and it was everybody making shots. We shot it from deep. We were, I think, 9 for 15 or so from three-point range. We got to the rim, got to the free throw line, and we were good offensively.
You win 82-67. We had a chance to talk with you last week about this game, and even going back to the game that your team played against San Jose State, I heard you on the post game with Ted Leitner, and it didn't take you long to start talking about Fresno State, how hot they were. People could look and say 15-14. That's not all that impressive, but you knew, and a lot of your fans knew. This is a hot team right now. Traveling into their gym is kind of a big deal. How much do you stress that message? I mean, you knew that right after San Jose State, you started talking up Fresno State. I guess the message was delivered to your team.
It was, and we talked about it immediately following the San Jose game. Enjoy this one, but you have to come back tomorrow, 2-day prep to get ready for really the hottest team in our league. And they were. They can score a lot of different ways. We did a good job of making them take hard shots, and they made some shots. I mean, it was a really close game until we spurted. A huge play for us, Darren. Right at the end of the half, X had a not so good moment defensively and let, I believe it was Harris, get a three with maybe 12 seconds to go in the half to cut it to 2. He came right down, knew exactly what he wanted to do, kind of crossed over and hit a 3 at the buzzer to put us back up 5. And that was more than a three-point basket. It gave our kids excitement coming into the locker room rather than being a little bit deflated that they got that three-point basket. And we went right from there to get a 10-point lead fairly quickly in the second half. So sometimes a play can give you an impetus that has an impact that you say, well, how did that happen? But it creates it.
This appears to me, Coach, to be a team that probably knows how to motivate itself, and you guys and the coaching staff, I think, has done a great job of dangling all these carrots in front of the team. Like this past weekend, hey, Fresno State's playing hot. Let's not think too long about San Jose State. It seems to me, and again, outside opinion, just looking in here, that the team knows how to motivate itself pretty well. Do you find that to be the case, that it's pretty aware, knows what's going on and what's on the line here?
I would agree with that. We've got a mature group of guys that don't get too full of themselves nor too down on themselves, but come ready to go and compete together. And I think compete together has been a watchword for us. They've done a nice job of looking out after one another at both ends of the floor. And when you've got, we talked about it before, when you got older guys, with Xavier Thames and Josh Davis as fifth-year seniors, and J.T. O'Brien is a fourth-year junior. So you've got 3 of your core guys that have been around the block many times, and that helps. That helps. But the character of the guys that we've got also helps. And our other guys have fallen in line and have done the job to be prepared and ready to play. And we've had effort and preparation in most of the games, and that's been player-driven. I would agree with you.
And that's not always the case, right? I mean, I do, I know that Lou Holt sometimes, people make fun of the former college football coach because he would always talk up playing William and Mary, and he would try to make it seem like William and Mary was Miami or USC or some other program. I mean, as a college coach, that's not always the case, right? Especially when you're dealing with a really talented team that knows it's pretty good.
I think that's an accurate statement, which lends itself sometimes to a lot of ups and downs and different games. When one game you play well, one game you don't play well. We've had games where we haven't shot well,
Right.
but it hasn't impacted or kept us from doing all the other things that we have done with great regularity, and that's guard like crazy, rebound the basketball and take care of it, and get to the free throw line. We've been really, really consistent in that, and that's because guys come knowing what they have to do to win every night.
Talking to Steve Fisher, San Diego State head basketball coach, Aztecs. This is their week to wrap up the season on the road at UNLV, and then Saturday against New Mexico. So I'm reading my friend Mark Ziegler in the Union Tribune, coach, and he's talking about this new motion offense that you guys displayed there this past Saturday night. Could you tell us a little bit about the new offense for the Aztecs and how this came about, and why was Saturday night the night to show it?
We had been talking as a staff, what can we do to help us? What can we do as coaches to help our team? And we talked after New Mexico. We had too much quick shooting, too much one side of the floor, not enough side to side. Against Fresno State, we were so much better in terms of that kind of movement. And then, we said, let's give them something that's got a little structure to it, but also freedom. And Mark Fisher and Brian Dutcher were the two guys that kind of scratched it out and said, okay, let's run out some form of a program motion offense, but it's got the flexibility to it. And, so 2 days we worked on it, and it gave us some good looks. It gave us side to side with thoughtfulness and with organization and knowing what we wanted to do, but it also gave us freedom to attack off the dribble when we felt we could. So it was good. It was good for us. I think it caught Fresno a little bit off balance early on. So, everybody now, Vegas will look at it and say, okay, now what do we have to do to keep the ball on a side? So it'll be a little more difficult as you go. And yet we liked what we saw, so we'll kind of tweak it a little bit, and that'll be one of the things that we also do.
You mentioned it was Mark Fisher and Brian Dutcher. Did they have to sell you on this idea? I mean, were you convinced that this was a good idea, or did they have to say, hey, Coach, we feel like we can be successful with this. What do you think?
No, they knew they had talked about it long and hard, long before they brought me into the equation. And, me, I'm a guy that they showed me, and I've been around the block too. I said, that sounds good. Let's try it. Let's see what it looks like in practice. Our players liked it. Our players said, yeah, this is, they liked it. You could sense that they liked it. So it didn't take a lot of convincing for me to say, let's go with it.
Is this unusual? I mean, I don't want to make too much out of this here, but is it unusual for something like this to happen after 27 games played?
I don't know, maybe, but I don't think, I think everybody critiques and tweaks and says, what are we doing that we don't like? What can we do a little bit better, and how can we do it with the personnel that we've got? But probably you get down to the 3 games left in the conference season to do something. It might be a little unusual. Maybe we should have done it 7 games ago, but we got a little something different. But I think that most teams, when you play them the second time around, they say, okay, what one thing can we do? What one wrinkle can we throw in? Most of the time, though, it's just a quick-hitting play that you do. So I don't want to make more of it than it was, but it helped us. There's absolutely no question it helped us in that game Saturday.
Talking to Steve Fisher, Aztec head coach, UNLV coming up on Wednesday. Coach, UNLV, this is the court that you guys are going to play on in a little bit more than a week's time, or somewhere thereabouts here when it comes to the Mountain West Conference Tournament. We talked about that last week. They do not have Roscoe Smith, but you guys have New Mexico coming up on Saturday. So this is a really, really interesting and challenging way to end the week for you guys for the Aztec program.
It certainly is. We are loaded down the stretch without a doubt, given the way Fresno had been playing. Now we go to Vegas and then finish at home with New Mexico. So we'll be tested, and we'll be ready. So it'll be exciting. And it starts at Vegas, and we've always had tough games with Vegas when we played them, and I would expect nothing less than the same on Wednesday. They blew out Air Force on Saturday, scored 90-some-odd points, so I'm sure with or without Roscoe Smith, they'll be ready to play.
You know, and I would ask about focus, but we just talked about that. I'm sure your team will be all in on UNLV. But I guess my question would be to you, heading into the final week of Mountain West Conference play before the tournament next week, you look around, how many teams do you think right now are going to the tournament? I mean, as of today, is it just you and New Mexico?
I would say, if I'm realistic right now, it's the two of us, and someone else could play their way in, which could happen, which would mean probably win the conference tournament, win the last two games, and get to the finals of the conference tournament. That probably would take that. And there are several teams. Vegas is one of them that could do it.
UNLV right now, 10-6 on the season, 19-10. Most people think that they've had a down season. And I don't know if that's the way it looks for you on film, though.
I think when you are used to immense success, having won a national championship, they forget how long ago that was. They think it's their divine right to do that. I think if you look at what Dave Rice has done record-wise, is 2 years, now third year there, it matches up with better than 95% in the country and maybe an equal to the other 5%. He's had wonderful success. This year they've had an inordinate number of home losses, which they're not used to. But they're a dangerous team, and I think it wears on you when people say you're not doing this, you're not doing that. They get tired of hearing it. Sometimes you rally the troops just within that locker room to say, don't listen to them, let's prove how good we are, and you try to flip it around a little bit. This business is not as easy as an average fan would think that it is, and sometimes you don't appreciate what guys do when you watch them either.
Is there a difference, Coach, for you, the different feelings of winning a regular season conference championship versus winning a tournament championship, a Mountain West Conference tournament championship? Does it feel about the same, or is there a difference for you?
I think that you set a goal when you start your season. We want to win the conference, which is the regular season conference championship. That's a grinding, long road. And most people would say if you win a conference, that's the true champion, the true merit of a champion. That being said, nothing can replace cutting the net down. And we've done that several times in Vegas in the Mountain West Conference tournament. So it's an exhilarating feeling. You have to play wonderful basketball, and you have to do it back to back to back. So I think both of them give you a sense of accomplishment. The first, it's done over the long haul, from New Year's Eve to early March, and that's a journey. Where the other, you're running a 40-yard dash, and you got to get there in a hurry.
Well, Coach, good luck. Good luck on Wednesday night. Good luck this Saturday. It will be senior night as well, right? The seniors will be honored coming up against New Mexico right prior to the game, won't they?
They will. They will, and it'll be a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere when you've got Xavier Thames, who's been here forever, and you throw in Josh Davis, who's come in and done a remarkable job as a fifth-year senior. It'll be a fun night, and there'll be some tears shed before the game, and it will be hard fought both ways. But we're right now saying we need to find a way to be playing for a conference championship outright on Saturday by winning the game against a good Vegas team on Wednesday.
Coach, a pleasure. Thank you very much. Congrats on the W over the weekend. Good luck here with UNLV on Wednesday night. We'll see you Saturday against New Mexico.
Thank you, Darren.